You're on Spotlight with Ashley Cloud. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Sharon Taylor, founder and CEO of the Business Vision and Development Center. And we're on Small Business Spotlight. And the spotlight today is on Ashley Cloud. Thank you for joining me, Ashley.
Thanks so much for having me, Sharon.
Ashley Cloud is the founder of the Cloud law firm PLLC. For those that don't know what PLLC stands for, tell us.
PLLC stands for Professional Limited Liability Company. So those are specifically for business owners or any type of business that has to have any kind of like licensure. So like if it's a medical office, a dental office, a law office, any type of office that requires some kind of certification, you usually would file a PLLC.
Thank you. Now tell us about the type of work you do at the Cloud Law Firm.
Sure. So I mostly work with small businesses and different types of creative entrepreneurs. And my practice mostly focuses on providing services from the beginning of like ideation phase of a business, forming the business, protecting the business's assets such as brand protection, copyright protection, and also providing contract services. So reviewing contracts, drafting contracts, negotiating contracts, and then I also provide general counsel services. So as your business continues to grow and as different legal issues come up, you can just reach out to me and I can provide you with my legal expertise and advice.
Do you allow your clients to put you on retainer, so to speak?
If they want to, yes, yes. I do have some clients that they just need help with one thing. Like say someone might come to me, they just need a trademark registration done and I'll do that for them. And I usually charge a flat fee for that. But if someone would like me to do ongoing services for them, I am open to doing retainers, or I also am launching a subscription package soon so that you can just pay monthly and have access to me and the services that I provide.
That's outstanding. I like that. Tell us a little bit about your types of clients. What are the demographics of the clients that you serve?
Sure, yeah. So I serve a wide range of different entrepreneurs. We can talk about everything from race to income to industry. So I work with a very diverse group of people. I work with a lot of creatives, so artists, fashion designers, photographers, all kinds of different individuals in the creative space. I also work with like very small, like solopreneurs or small businesses or a bit mid-range businesses as well. So I provide services for a lot of different types of companies.
Now, when I think of you and I know that you're kind of in the fashion industry legal side of things. And when you decided to branch out from just doing regular legal work, um, what made you pick fashion? How did that become your niche, the fashion aspect of your legal services?
Yeah, so when I first got to law school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to become a lawyer and I wanted to serve people. But I found out shortly after I got there about this concept of fashion law. And I was immediately intrigued because I've always been what I would call like a fashionista. Even when I was a child, I've always been posing and in a mirror and putting on my mom's lipstick and just all that kind of stuff. So at first I was like, fashion and law, like two of my favorite things, right? And so first when I started thinking about it, I was like, maybe I should go work for like a big fashion brand. Like that would be amazing. That sounded really cool to me. But I realized that my interest and my purpose and my skill set is more geared towards helping people start from scratch, helping them build. And I love, and I think I'm pretty good at educating and empowering people. And so I decided to go a different route with starting my own law firm so that I can provide services to people directly instead of working for like a big conglomerate or something like that. So and then on top of it, once I realized how often fashion designers, especially designers that look like me, they have a lack of resources, a lack of information. I knew that I needed to serve my purpose in this way by being able to provide this service and being able to empower them.
And then you're your own boss. That's always that.
I mean, that's always bad. Like that's yeah. That's my favorite thing, and I will say I've always been bossy, so it just was as a natural thing for me to be where I am right now.
And I just want to give full disclosure. Ashley and I work together at the Small Business Administration. And I want to talk about your transferring from W-2 to business ownership, because you really kept it under lock and key for a long time. I knew something was brewing, but I wasn't quite sure. So, what was the mindset? How long did it take? When did you start really thinking about this is the move I'm gonna make and I'm gonna do it?
So since I was about 17, I knew that I wanted to start my own firm. So it's always been in the back of my mind, and then it slowly just creeped up to the front of my mind over time, right? And so when I was at the SBA, I think about 3 years in, I realized that it was time for me to take the leap. Like there was nothing holding me back at that point. And so I decided to just slowly start putting things in place so that I could transition out. And so first, just to be honest, a lot of the first things that I did was more about mindset and changing the way that I was thinking about things so that I could wrap my mind around having a good government job and leaving that to start on this new path, right? So that was like the very first thing that I had to do. And then the next thing was actually just starting to build the business. So registering my LLC, getting my EIN, getting a domain, and just doing all of those steps to have things in place so that I was able to launch my firm shortly after leaving the government. I also was saving up a lot of money because I knew that a lot of times at the very beginning, it might be a little slow. So I was saving up money and doing things of that nature. I had already decided that I wanted to relocate on top of leaving my job to New York. So I was making frequent trips to New York from DC just to get a lay of the land, doing a lot of networking, and then also just getting comfortable being in a city like New York, which a lot of people say it's a city that can, chew you up and spit you out kind
Yes.
of thing. And I wanted to make sure that I was building up my confidence to be able to get on the train and be okay with getting lost and not like just falling apart, stuff like that. And just being able to be a little bit more scrappy and just being able to kind of roll with the punches and being very resourceful and just putting myself out there. So that's really what got me to that point. It took me I would say a good year to get there. Um, and I wanted to take my time with it. I didn't want to rush that process. At the same time, I made sure that I was doing an amazing job where I was at the SBA because I knew I wanted to leave there with, you know, nothing holding me back, and I don't want to have any like red flags or anything of that nature because I was still building up my skills and also serving small business community in
Yes.
that way. So I'm sure that I was doing a great job there too. It was definitely a lot to juggle, but at the end of the day, I'm so glad that I did what I did.
And how long has the cloud firm been open now?
We will be celebrating 1 year next week.
Oh my God, what day? Is it Valentine's Day?
Valentine's Day. Yes, it's Valentine's Day. I feel like that's my gift to myself and that's my gift to my community for Valentine's Day, just to show my love for myself by following my dream and doing something that I've always wanted to do, and also because it's honestly a labor of love what I do. So,
Well, congratulations on that. Now, I want to ask you, for those of us, because it could be me as well, uh, how to overcome our fear to move forward toward our dreams. Because even with me, I am in a W-2 and have my own business. And there are some people who are in the same boat and are afraid to leave. And part of the reason I stay is because I love the work that I do, and it's parallel to what I'm doing on the outside. But for those people who have a dream or a passion to do something entirely different from what they're doing 9 to 5, how do you talk to them about combating that and overcoming that?
so one of the first things that I tell people to do whenever they are struggling with fear around the uncertainty of starting a business is that you have to investigate what specific fears you have and then decide if there's something that you can do about it, right? So a
Mm.
lot of times the number one fear is I'm gonna go broke, right? I'm not gonna
Yes.
have any money, it's gonna fail, all of that kind of stuff. So one thing that I did was I decided to make sure that I had a certain amount of savings. It wasn't a lot. I remember I talked to one person, she said, yeah, so my plan is to save up $100,000 and then I'm gonna leave. I was like, girl, I'll talk to you in 20 years because you're not gonna save up much money. Like what? So, I mean, saving up a reasonable amount of money. I think I saved up like $20,000 just to get started, right? And because that was something that I always was worried about. But honestly, the biggest part of that whole fear is that you have to remember that are you really going to just let yourself go broke? Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you could just sit there and hold your hands and just, oh, I'm going broke, my bank account is dwindling. You're not gonna do that, right? So if it really came down to it and you had to like pick up another job, so be it. But honestly, I would just say put your all into it and it will work out. It might not work out the way you thought it would. Might take longer, but it will work out, especially if it's something that is aligned with your purpose. It's not
Yeah.
something that you gratification. It's not something that you're doing because you're like, oh, I heard this was a good thing to try out, but it's really something that you're passionate about. It's something that really like lights a fire within you because that is going to be the make or break for you at the end of the day. That is the thing that's going to keep you getting up every morning and doing what you're going to be doing. Because let me tell you, when you're your boss, there is no one that is going to be like, hey, where are you? We need you. There's no one that's going to be doing that, right? So you have to take the initiative and you have to have that much passion and it has to be aligned with your purpose because that is what's going to carry you through everything. So I tell people to remember your why. And when you remember your why, all those fears are kind of like, okay, sure, but this is why I'm doing this, right? So that's one thing that I always tell people is to just remember why you have this dream. And let me tell you something. I've talked to so many people about this kind of thing. And if you don't follow your dream, it will always be a dream. It's not going to ever go away. It's always going to be in the back of your head. So my thing was, and I'm not even going to lie, there were times when I wanted to just go get another job or I'm just going to go, like I said before, I'm just going to go work for a big company or work at like a big law firm or something like that. But I knew what was in my heart and it was to start my own practice. And there are times when I'm like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, but I know that it's a part of me that I cannot ignore, and I know that it's not going to go anywhere. So at this point, I'm like, I just need to be obedient to this feeling that I have, and just see where it takes me because obviously there's something in me that's guiding me here, and I just kind of let that lead me, and so far so good.
I agree totally, because for me, it's sort of the same thing. Yours was fashion and law. Mine is education and business. Those are the two things that have always been in my heart. And, someone told me, don't worry about how many likes you get on social media. Don't worry about the naysayers. You know when
Mhm.
it's your passion and your purpose because that's all you think about. Even in
Exactly.
your downtime, you're like, oh, that sounds, yeah, I think I want to try that.
I dream about this stuff. Literally, not just a dream of mine. I literally will have dreams. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Well, if anybody, everybody, and anyone who is watching, let me just say, working with Ashley, it's something to see. The her work product, her work ethic, her service to community, to the small business, just everything about her. As you look at her outside beauty, the inside beauty far outshines that. And
Aw,
so I've kept in touch with her since she's left. I consider her a friend, but I
yeah.
also consider her a mentor and a great business model for women
Aw.
who are trying to start their own business or excel in the entrepreneurship space. So thank you, Ashley, again for sitting with me this evening. And I want you to share your contact information with everyone.
First of all, Sherry, you're gonna make me cry. It's been such a pleasure knowing you and having worked with you, and I miss us talking all the time like we used to, but I'm so glad that we've stayed in touch so much. But yeah, you can reach me at a few different places. You can check out my website, thecloudlawfirm.com. You can also reach me on Instagram at your fashion attorney. And like I said, my niche is fashion, but I work with all kinds of different entrepreneurs. So thank you so much.
And thank you again for joining us on Small Business Spotlight. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks, Ashley.
Thank you. Bye.
Like, share, and subscribe.